Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to the September Release Notes webinar. My name is Jonathan Burnos. I'm your Customer Success Manager. If we haven't had the opportunity to meet, please reach out through email proactively. I do have a scheduling link in the signature area of my email. You can use that to find available time. Only ask that you give me a few days to kind of prep for that meeting. I'm working through rapidly to meet with as many of you as possible. Challenges right now are that it is fall start. Hopefully everyone's having a great fall start, but that definitely can lend itself to some fires sometimes, or just some challenges and questions that come up. So I'm dealing with those, and as I work through those with some of you, I'm setting up introduction calls if we haven't officially met. That is the goal, though. If you're watching this and we haven't had any kind of a formal introduction via a call, Zoom call, that's my goal, is to do that. So I'm going to continue to work through that this month in September. Hopefully get that scheduled, and we can meet and just kind of establish some communication channels and talk a little bit about objectives in the future. Overall, I'd like to work into building a success plan for your operations and how you run, and that's going to be based on your configurations. I'd like to get to know your instance, and then of course set goals here for the rest of this year and into next year. So I'm excited to work with you all. Again, if we haven't met, that's my goal, is to get that on the calendar. So I'm going to go ahead and take us into the release notes. September has not been crazy busy with releases and changes and new things, which is great because we've had enough of that, I think, through July and August. But so let's talk a little bit about our September release notes and our deploy notes for the month. Oops, here we go. I want to start off with Instructure news, just some things that are happening in Instructure in general, not necessarily Canvas, but I think everything that relates to Canvas and things that you might be using. I won't go through all of these, but just to point out, you can find these in the Instructure community. We do have a blog area. Also, just on the homepage, the landing page, when you first go into the community, if you scroll down, you'll see there is a news section, and it has these posts that will take you out to product blogs, to kind of pertinent information that might be good to know for upcoming roadmap. So a couple things in here just to note. If you're a data person and you've been working in Canvas Data 2 and you're interested in any updates, the Data Access Platform, the DAP, the CLI 1.2.0 release is out. There's some additional information here about that release regarding enhanced security, efficiency, and handling errors within the DAP. Within that DAP platform or that DAP interface for Canvas Data 2. If none of that makes any sense of what I just said, then you're probably not working in Canvas Data 2. You don't have to worry about it. But if it does, if that sounded exciting or if that made sense, then check out the product blog regarding that release. A couple other things to point out here. Let's see. It's content report. I just put in a couple other the news stories. One thing I did want to point out is kind of there is a deep dive into LTI usage. This is coming from the Impact standpoint, really more focused on the Impact product line integration into Canvas. Impact, as many of you have learned, or as you know, deals more with specific data campaigns. There's a communication element where you can build campaigns to target different audiences within your instance, either delivering training resources or information to them, or leading them out to different resources. So it's a very effective tool. One of the things that we're really going to be focused more on here moving forward, you'll hear this in different ways, is focused on LTI usage data. I'm going to click on this and take you into the article real quick, because I do want to kind of introduce what this is. This is actually a continuation from a earlier post. The earlier post from Impact was on LTI Revolution. Even if you don't have Impact, I would kind of advise you to take a look at these posts from Impact. Even if Impact's not even on the horizon, it's not even something you've considered based on different reasons, audience, budget, all of that, I still would take a look at it, because we do have some conversation in here about LTI usage data, which is very, very important. That previous article, Taryn had posted, she's our product manager over Impact and in the development of these tools, really talked a lot about, why do we want more insight into LTIs? For years now, there's been a demand and a request to get more information about how LTIs are being used in Canvas, and that's effective for many reasons. We want your leadership teams to be able to know If you definitely, if you're putting money into those solutions, we want to give you some assistance on knowing if those solutions are being used effectively in Canvas and outside of Canvas. And so these articles do a great job of kind of giving that need of why are we putting development time into LTI reports and being able to access that data. This again is specific to Impact as a solution for this. The great thing about Impact as a solution for LTI reporting is it has immediate connection to building the email campaigns, marketing campaigns to reach out to the users that have been identified or the users of those LTIs. And you can reach out to them and you can see the effectiveness of those campaigns of those audiences that you target. So that's really what this kind of talks about. It also does a little bit more outside of the box of current and future state of LTIs in Impact as a product. Some of this is kind of a blend of, if you've heard a little bit about Intelligent Insights here in the last month or so, Intelligent Insights, also an add-on service to Canvas, also has development into LTI reporting, LTI usage, very similar to Impact. The difference here is Impact, again, is really more if you're looking for those targeted email campaigns that you want to follow up with the data once you know usage and how LTIs are being used. If you wanted to target those groups to increase adoption or at least to bring resources in, that would be a great Impact's the tool if you're looking or evaluating that over Intelligent Insights. Again, the new article that's posted in that net news area in our slide deck today is going to talk a little bit more about data sources, some of the challenges and the reasons in the past of why it's been hard to track LTIs and reporting, and a little bit about prepping in the future. If we want to have better data from LTIs, there are some things we can do, even if you're not quite ready for different solutions. Maybe it's not in the budget this year, next year, but on the horizon, if we know eventually we want to get to a point where we're pulling in effective LTI data, there's some recommendations and next steps on prepping. There's when installing an LTI tool, we have a dynamic registration process you can follow. Also, make sure you're using 1.3 tools. Those are better configured and situated for reporting in the future. Stay up to date with other news articles around LTI usage. And then when in doubt, reach out to our support team with questions about configurations on LTIs, just to make sure that they're installed properly in Canvas and that down the line you're able to get reporting from them. So it's a great article. I know I spent a little bit of time on this part. Normally I don't do that when it's a different product outside of Canvas. But this one has such great conversations around LTI usage that I wanted to spend some time. Going back to the slides, I do want to mention that I will share the slide deck into the newsletter. This is probably how you're getting into this webinar for today. And on the inside of the slide deck, it'll be linked out to these news sources. So rather than having to go out in the community and find the information that we're talking about today, this will take you directly to it. And I'll also timestamp that in the newsletter to make it a little bit easier for you all if you're sharing this with instructors and teachers and so on. And I also encourage that you guys, please feel free to share this information as a training resource. If you're getting questions from faculty instructors, or if you are a faculty member instructor and this can be helpful for you to kind of find the information or answer questions about releases, please feel free to distribute this information. Wait, let's back up. Oh yeah, so one other thing I wanted to call out here from our news is the blog post here from Product regarding the disallow threaded replies. It did cause quite a headache during the fall start, pre-fall start and into fall start. So this is really a blog post from Tomas, who's on a product manager over our discussions team and the discussions redesign. We're always accepting feedback on that. There are opportunities in the community to give feedback on the discussions redesign. This post is really calling attention to a temporary self-service button that's been placed into discussions that will allow you to do kind of a bulk thread it all or unthread all discussions. So hopefully that helps kind of remedy some of the issues that came from the rollout in the redesign on one of the release notes here this past month. So take a look at that. There's a video in here, kind of how to use that. This is going to be a temporary solution or an option that's given until the end of October. Should get us through fall start. Should solve any of the issues that it created when we rolled that out. So if you're recognizing what I'm talking about, then you've probably been following that, and unfortunately, we maybe had to deal with some of that headache. Totally apologize. I was there with you, but this should hopefully help moving forward. And then again, we can kind of evaluate postmortem and gather feedback for the future for similar releases. So let's jump back into our slides. So again, check those blog posts out. Let's jump into our release notes. I do have the link in there, so this will take you to the release notes page. I recommend bookmarking it, subscribing to it so you can get updates to the page. There are 4 releases for September. They are all admin only. So if you're an instructor or faculty member, you can kind of tune out or skip past this section because there's nothing in it that will pertain or you'll see in any kind of workflow change. Release notes for September for admins, really not big changes in workflow, really more just additional options that have been added to your workflows. And then again, that's going to be depending on if you use the features or not. So first one's going to be around developer keys. So new quizzes endpoints have been added. These token scopes have been added into your settings area. So if you are an administrator and you're adding an API key, the new quizzes endpoints will be visible there and accessible. So you'll see the screenshots there. So very kind of a simple addition, but a nice addition if you're working in the data area and need access to this information. Also in analytics, this is for admin analytics, course analytics. This is a migration of the data to the data access platform. Really, this specifically is going to be on your refresh, your load schedule frequency. So the Canvas admin analytics tool, which is available at the account level, and the course analytics features from the course level. Migration is happening now through the September 30th. We should be done completely with all instances at that time or using Canvas Data 2. So the transition, this is what this is going to do is really just increase your load schedule. It should be around every 8 hours instead of the current load schedule, which is 24 to 48 hours for refreshing those 2 areas. So speeding things up, good update there if you're working in the analytics tools. Number 3, Canvas authentication provider password options. This is kind of cool. So main benefit here is that if you need to be able to kind of customize your password options a little bit more than the standard default that's been in Canvas forever, you can use view options within when you're setting up your Canvas authentication credentials. Notice there it brings up additional options like changing the character length, requiring number characters, requiring symbols. And so if you have different requirements for some of your login into your just your institution's different portals, different solutions, then we can kind of, with the options here for Canvas login, you can match some of those. So hopefully that's going to be an added benefit too for administrators who maybe have run into that in the past and haven't been able to kind of customize a little bit more. Last but not least, settings. This is limiting access token generation, so giving you a little bit more control on those tokens when it comes to third parties, LTIs, and accessing Canvas. And let's go into this one actually into the release notes themselves, because I just want to point out that there's quite a bit of detail or follow-up in screenshots and walking through this. I know it's an admin-only tool, but just to give you more flexibility and control over generating those tokens. You have now kind of a workflow or pathway along with filter or permissions that will give access to managing access tokens. So that gives a little more granular control even at the admin level of being able to do this. So if there's only like a certain echelon or specific account admin that you want to have access to token generation, you can do that. You'll see now there's an improved integrations area where you'll be able to see the tokens. You can generate new access tokens, and then also you'll see the status of those tokens as they're communicating with the third party, and or if they've been activated, you'll have control over that as well. So this is actually a nice little feature. It's developed over time regarding those access tokens for LTIs, and I wanted to bring those up in our webinar. So, all right, if you're back, if you were skipping that section, hey, you're back for deploy notes. There's not much in our deploy notes, so talk through a couple of these. One, our 9/11 deploy just came out a few days ago. I'm going to jump into that real quick and just show you a couple features from this. Deploys, this one, September's deploys feel more like deploys and what deploys are supposed to be. Hopefully we're not getting releases and changes within deploys. So this one, we're adding some verbiage to the Lucid link that appears in your navigation. It will only appear in the navigation if you have Lucid enabled. And once Lucid's enabled, the integration or the partnership allows Lucid to appear in course navigation. In parentheses now, after this deploy has gone out now, you'll notice Lucid has whiteboard in parentheses now next to it. The idea was to give users, instructors, um, give them a little more maybe detail as to what Lucid is if they're not currently using it. And that it does have whiteboard features. And so I don't anticipate any kind of name change of the product itself, since Lucid is still separately Lucid and an integration. Whiteboard, and again, if this is something, it's small details, but sometimes we get a lot of feedback on small details. If this feels like it's kind of unnecessary or maybe too much, or we don't really understand the point, feel free to share feedback on that. I'm happy to take that and pass that along, share it through the community, share it to me as your customer success manager. I'm impartial because I don't use it, but I could understand as a user, as an instructor. This one I can understand maybe if their feedback was, hey, this is kind of goofy or confusing. Did we really have to add whiteboard? I think there's probably more comments and questions on the adding Lucid as a link in the course navigation than there is the verbiage that's there. But that's my opinion. Always trying to keep it real with you guys. Just pointing that out. We also added a sys import warning message. This is at the account level sys import page. There's a warning message now that informs risks associated with selecting the full batch update checkbox. The full batch can make some pretty big changes or overwrite and make some damage. And so we just want to make sure that's not accidental or unintended to select that box and what happens. It's not. I kind of like that the message is there, regardless if you use the box or not, just so you understand that it's a bigger option. There's a lot of control over using that when doing a sys import at that level. So but I'm a fan of any kind of warning boxes. You also see that in the confirm box. You have another big bright warning message. Just again, giving an extra step before you actually confirm and make the changes. It's again reminding you that it'll delete everything for the term if you do it. So there's a time and place for it. So you just want to make sure you're using it the right way. We're just adding warnings to it. SpeedGrader, RCE features available now. So in the RCE for SpeedGrader, you'll notice there's some formatting options available now. This is adding something that wasn't there before, so I'm never a huge fan of things like that within deploys, but it's already within the RCE, so this is just adding it into a different area where there's an RCE used in smaller ways within SpeedGrader assignments, things like that. So this is what it's allowing the instructor. Main benefit is having the ability to use formatting options within that reply or those comments area. So overall, I think a pretty good change, and it shouldn't affect anything other than hopefully it might lead to a few instructors saying, wow, that's cool. Glad we have that now. 925 is real simple. This one is upcoming for our deploy. This is the equation editor being added to the rich content editor. Again, something that's not there that's being added. It's a little tricky. The reason why it says deploy is because the RC already exists, and the equation editor already exists in the RCE. So this is just modifying and adding it into an area. The RCE appears in SpeedGrader that doesn't have that functionality. So this is kind of going along with a previous deploy that just happened with the one we just talked about with formatting options. Now we have the equation editor, which should be good for math and science purposes. So I think it's a good change overall. All right. Product blog. I'm not going to point out all the product blogs. Excuse me. I'm going to edit that out. Give me a second. Okay. Our product blog, this is linked on the top. So if you want to click to it, this will go out to the product blog in the community. I just highlighted one that I wanted to kind of share because I think there's some good opportunity here. We are doing a new and next session. Sharon posted this into the blog area. Just keeping you kind of up to date and on the forefront of product evolution and what we're doing on the roadmap. So it's more detail of product roadmap for instructor. This is linked to the blog post here. It's also linked to the form if you want to sign up for that. September 24th at 4 p.m. Eastern time is when we are conducting the fall product updates for higher ed, the roadmap meeting. They're really good. If you want to get insight, it's a great opportunity to get that. There's usually slides or content you can pull from it. So I would encourage you to attend that as it comes up here in the next few weeks, a week and a half, I think. So lastly, but not leastly, intelligent insights. I mentioned impact earlier, but so I definitely wanted to circle back and talk about intelligent insights because, again, there's a lot of overlap, or not a lot, but is some overlap between the two. Intelligent Insights is an add-on product. We did just introduce it in July. If you haven't learned more about it yet, even if it's far out on the horizon, or even if you're like, we're not quite sure if we have the budget. I'm not trying to be salesy here. I'm really more informational. I think there's still an opportunity to have just a demonstration of what Intelligent Insights offers. You'll be surprised when we get into the pricing part. If you get that far, there's enough interest. It's flexible and it's heavily discounted right now because it's brand new. So I did put in a little bit of information. The bigger component of the Intelligent Insights piece is artificial intelligence, being able to ask your data as a query and a saved query. So it's an ability to customize your query results and then to reproduce that again and again into a report if that's what you need. LTI usage is a big part of that, as we mentioned earlier with impact. Course readiness and students in need of attention are also the other components around this. It's a really, really amazing tool. There's lots of components to it. I would take it, even if you're interested in just the LTI usage portion of it, which is very, very detailed, or the ask your data, which is the other my other favorite part. Check it out. Ask for a demo. Laura and I would be happy to jump on a demo. She, of course, would be the one that helps demonstrate it with one of our awesome solutions engineers. Let us demonstrate at bare minimum. If you have more questions or we can follow up with more information, let us know. It's definitely worth just a look if you're curious, because a lot of these features, again, they're not going to go away. If you've ever been looking or asked about more options for customizing your reports, this is it. The reason why it's an add-on service or add-on product to Canvas is, it's easy to develop something architecture-wise, the platform to fit everyone's needs when they have those high-level general needs for reporting. When you start to get into specific reports, institutions are very different on what they need to be able to report back to their executive leadership team, to the board, to whatever. When you start getting into the more customization, then of course it takes more resources, more time, more specialists to be able to develop those reports. That's money. If there's a way to lessen that, the cost of that, reduce the number of resources needed, artificial intelligence, then that's where the price comes from for Intelligent Insights. It's giving you a way to customize reports as simple as possible, and then to be able to reproduce that for your needs at your institution. So just keep that in mind when we talk about Intelligent Insights and data. We'll have more conversations individually just about your data needs and reporting. That's a big initiative for me, to just figure out, how can we meet your needs at your institution more. Let's talk about office hours. They're next week. Office hours, we do it once a month, depending on the state you're in. Alabama is going to be the third Monday every month. Georgia, third Tuesday. Florida is the third Wednesday. South Carolina, third Thursday. For Florida folks, this is different than the larger Florida call. That's going to continue, but this is separate for just the schools I work with in Florida. Those are all links actually in the slide, so you can click on it. Has the Zoom information for each one of those. I do have a challenge. I can't send out a bulk invite to the office hours to all of the customers, so to all of you. It would be really tricky. I encourage instructors and people that may not work necessarily at the admin level. I encourage them to attend the office hours. The theme this month is going to be learning services. We'll talk about training that's available within your Canvas instance that Instructure provides, just to give you a refresher on that in the first part of it, and then we open it up for just general Q&A in the second part. My goal is to have it be more of a networking opportunity between you and other institutions as far as best practices and how you use Canvas or other tools. But the challenge is I can't send out a bulk invite, so you have to either ask me. So by request, I can add you to the current or the recurring calendar invitation for these each month, or you can just bookmark it, create your own, and then you're welcome to distribute that to your instructors and your staff as a resource. So those are going to be next week again, 9, 16, 17, 18th, and 19th. Just you only need to go to one, your state. You can go to all of them if you want to, but I do record these and I'll make them available on the YouTube channel in addition to this webinar that'll also be there as well. And then you of course have your newsletter that'll be going out, or that you receive this recording in, that'll also be talking about office hours. So, all right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate the time today. Hopefully this has been impactful, using that word impact. Hopefully this has been good. So for September, we'll have another one next month. Hopefully we'll get it out here in the first or second week of the month. like we did in September for October release notes. Hope everyone's having a great fall start. I know it's been crazy at times. It's definitely been a busier fall start than it has been the last few years. But we're going to get through it together. Remember, I'm on your team. I'm going to advocate for you all the time. So I never take anything personal. I know sometimes tension can run high with fall starts. So I'm on your team. I promise. I'm working for you guys. Happy to, and enjoying the conversations and the relationships that we've begun thus far, but want to continue those. So again, use my calendar scheduler, reach out to me if we haven't had an introduction call, and I'm going to continue to work through those throughout the month to get those on the calendar and meet you all. So thank you guys. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. It is Friday if you're watching it today. If you haven't, if you're watching this on Monday, I'm sorry, because the enthusiasm is just not going to transfer till Monday. But have a great weekend, guys. We'll talk to you next time.